Hey, it's Sean from P2R, and today we're going to be talking about figuring out the right clutch for your car. As you know, all of the J Series engines come with what we call a dual mass flywheel. A dual mass flywheel is essentially two flywheels on one engine. Basically, one flywheel is connected to the engine while the other flywheel is connected to the transmission or the drivetrain. And there's like a spring-loaded setup that's built inside of it, which is was designed to dampen forces. Everything is kind of smooth. There's no actual shock load that hits on the drivetrain. And that essentially is gonna prolong transmission life, also give you a nice soft feel inside of the car. When you're starting to go after performance, it's not something that you generally like because it does have a very slow response in between your shifts. It doesn't allow you to put the power down right away. You'll notice with a lot of factory cars, on top of having a dual mass flywheel, which actually you can see the effect, how it actually rotates while this one stays steady. That's essentially, the springs are in there, so you'll feel it soften up. Also, factories also add dampeners in the master cylinder or the slave cylinder, sometimes in both, depending on the car. And that's why the more modern manual cars, like let's say a 2014 Acura TL all-wheel drive, no matter how hard you pull and you let go of that clutch, you're always gonna have a very soft feel on the shifts. The biggest negative though to the dual mass flywheel is its weight. This flywheel here is about 30 pounds. I mean, it is extremely heavy. When you're going after performance, we switch over to something like the Clutch Masters. This is a single mass flywheel. Obviously, right off rip, you're gonna realize that everything that I just said, as far as softening and helping to save the drivetrain, goes out the window. However, we now come to a sprung hub disc. This is what's actually gonna help keep it softer. And the most common mistake when people are buying clutch kits from us on our website, they'll buy a single mass flywheel, like the Clutch Masters. This particular flywheel is 14.5 pounds, so it's literally half the weight of the OEM unit, which instantly you're gonna feel the quicker response in the vehicle and the car is gonna feel faster. So it's really nice. But the mistake that I mentioned people make is they'll buy a single mass flywheel and then they'll buy an unsprung disc setup. Unsprung, the factory disc is unsprung, but that's because the springs are essentially in the flywheel. When you go to single mass flywheel, you're gonna wanna go to a sprung hub disc. So when you're on our website and you're looking up any of our Clutch Masters kits, the very first line we put in bold, whether it's a dampened clutch setup or a solid clutch setup. We actually try to make it really easy. It says dampened disc designed for single mass or Clutch Masters flywheel. And then we have the solid disc, which is designed for the OEM flywheel. So that's just something to really pay attention to when you're ordering a clutch kit from us. If you're still confused on it, you can always go ahead and just give us a call and we'll help guide you to the right clutch. What I like about the Clutch Masters, it's very simple and very easy to understand their stages essentially. All of their clutch kits are called like an FX. So an FX 100 is essentially gonna be a dead copy of the OEM setup. When I say copy, it's not a copy, but it's just something that just handles the same thing like stock, no additional horsepower, holding power, or anything like that. Then everything from there is FX 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, and so on and so forth. So like a FX 250, for example, could be considered like a stage 2, whereas FX 350 can be considered like a stage 3. So it's essential to choose a clutch that is best suited for your setup. Sometimes people want to go with the most aggressive clutch, and sometimes it's just not worth it. If you're only making 300 horsepower, there's no reason to go with like an FX 500 clutch disc. That's just going to put extra wear and tear on your drivetrain. And also, the heavier the pressure plate, you're actually pressing against those thrust washers on the side of the crank, and those actually start to wear down over time. It's not something you have to worry about with the smaller clutch kits, but if you're not making the power, there's no reason to go to something so heavy. Also, of course, you don't want to underclutch the car, because if you have like an FX 100 and you're making 500 horsepower, you're just going to burn that clutch disc right up. In the description on all of the clutch kits, we actually show you the holding power and a rough estimate of how much horsepower or torque that clutch setup can hold. All right, and if you got any questions regarding what's the best clutch setup for your car, like I said before, feel free to reach out. Check out our social media, Power of Racing, give us a call, or check out our website, powerofracing.com, and we'll guide you to the right clutch for your car. See you guys again in the next video.